Life in concentration camps and ghettos was extremely hard. One of the primary concerns with prisoners was food. Food was a serious problem. Thousands of Jews and other people died just from starvation. For prisoners, meals were the most important part of the day. Morning meals consisted of crappy coffee or herbal tea. Lunches consisted of watery soup, and if you were lucky, you got a lump of tomato or turnip in your soup. During the evening, prisoners had a low chance of a piece of bread or other morsels given. As seen on the picture on the right, Jews and other ethnic groups only ate in one place unless there was a death march, which they ate on the road. Food was only provided to keep them barely alive, which made hard labor extremely difficult. The food given lacked nutrients. In a Warsaw ghetto, prisoners were entitled to only 183 calories of the necessary 2,000 a day, as seen on the picture on the left. Prisoners at their worst were called muscle men. These people were hung or put into gas chambers immediately because of their inability to do the labor the Nazis provided. In the second half of 1942, nutrition amongst concentration camps increased for prisoners, except for Jews and Russian prisoners of war. Many prisoners were held hostage if escapees did not come back. The punishment for the hostage was starvation. Rationing was another important thing to the prisoners in ghettos and concentration camps. The reward was high, but the risk even higher if you were caught. You were often killed if you were caught sneaking anything, from jewelry to just a loaf of bread. As seen on the picture on the left, ghettos were extremely guarded by German Nazis. Food in ghettos drastically increased in price, such as bread, even though bakeries produced hundreds or thousands of loaves a day. The bakeries were always constantly running, so the scent of bread tempted the Jews and other people to steal, which could cost them a finger or their life. After the constant onslaught at ghettos, the strongest and healthiest people were chosen to work at concentration camps. The ghettos were then liquidated with the people in them. After this happened, the younger prisoners came to collect the valuables for the Nazis. They would often steal essential things for them at a high risk. If they were caught, they would be shot right there and then. Prisoners were often transferred from camp to camp and often experienced death marches. There were extremely long marches on foot with only one loaf of bread for the entire march, as seen on the picture on the right. People in the march often killed each other for their loaf, and also dead people were scavenged of everything they have. The Nazis only rested for a 5-hour sleep, and then they went back to walking.
The role of religion during World War II had a huge impact on the Jews because in some countries, being Jewish could get you killed. The picture on the left shows Jewish people in concentration camps because of their religion and beliefs that Hitler didn't approve of. And the picture on the right shows the Jewish people working in the concentration camps they were forced to be in. Countries treated Jewish people different than in some. On the picture on the left shows how Poland treated the Jewish people unfairly by putting the Jewish people in concentration camps, and on the picture on the right shows how Germany had a genocide, killing 11 million Jews, and it shows concentration camps they were put into forced to work. Although in other countries, like the U.S., respected Jews like any other person.
This first picture is a picture of the Canada Commando. They were a group of prisoners that took people's belongings and took them to the Canada storehouse where they would sort them. The second and third pictures are pictures of prisoners working in forced labor workshops. The top picture depicts prisoners working in an aeroplane's parts workshop. The bottom picture shows prisoners working in a forced labor workshop making various machinery. The first and third pictures go together. The first shows Jews being rounded up in ghettos, presumably the Warsaw one. The third picture shows Jews being escorted to the transportation that takes them to the camps. The second picture shows a synagogue being burned on Kristallnacht. This was the first purge of the Jews by the Germans.
Before Jews were put to work at concentration camps, Nazis stripped them from their goods, like wedding rings, shoes, glasses, and tooth fillings. The rings and tooth fillings were melted down into raw material and either sold or used, shown by the picture on the right. The Nazis also shaved the Jews' heads and used their hairs for clothing for the prisoners, shown by the picture on the left. Women would usually try to provide for their family because of the lack of things they could do. There was no military to provide for, and all they could do is hide and hope. Hide and hope because if they got caught, they would be brought to a concentration camp and killed. The picture on the left is a mother trying to save her child from a firing squad. The picture on the right is when Nazis find the Jewish women.